had been patched up pretty good last year. Over this winter, when we worked on it, we worked on a lot of new areas. Is what it is.
Well, you still high there.
Yep. Yeah, we ain't had a winter like that in a while.
Okay, everything's on. Audio, broadcast, and you're live on YouTube. I don't know why that's on there now. I see that. Let's see that picture. Like that. Hold it.
Are we okay?
You're good.
Good to go?
You're live.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. On March 14th at 7:34. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. It's short devotion. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we thank you that we could gather in this place, Lord. We just ask that you look over all those that are involved in our township staff and also those in the township. And Lord, we thank you for the sunshine today. And please be with all those in the world right now that are struggling. It's in your name. Amen. All right, do we need to make any changes to our agenda today?
I got one.
I have one old business about the Stark County Health Department and then one new business on the new newspaper in town.
Oh, great. Good.
And then one under new business, we'll talk about Hope for just a second.
Okay. Perfect. I have a resident issued a report on zoning. I'll add that in when we get there. And I've got something to add to fire. So, good. All right. Can we get approval of minutes for Monday, February 28th?
Griffith will motion to approve the minutes.
You're a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Approval of the 314 treasurer's report.
Trustee Tira moves to approve as presented.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, public speaks. It looks like we don't have any this evening, so we will move. Oh, yeah. We'll move right along. The fire report. Mr. Tom, thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. As you all know, the Chief Parker's on vacation this week, so.
Great.
Yeah, she enjoyed herself. So, first item, as you can see, is recommendation to promote Dan Adams to the position of captain on the fire department.
Great. So we talked about this last meeting, and we wanted to spend a little bit of time just kind of looking at some of the financial side of this, only because we definitely have made a lot of changes on the fire and in the wage category and things like that. So my suggestion to the trustees, and you guys can have a discussion on it. My suggestion would be to go ahead and promote Dan Adams to that captain position, which is a $250 monthly stipend, and keep his wage the same for now. I think when we had our meeting, our yearly meeting, we may have bumped. I think we bumped a few of the officers up, and we can still do that for Dan. But I think for now, I think getting that stipend started, he's doing a great job looking over the vehicles and some other duties as well. So I don't know what you guys think. Right now, he's at $1,650, and that is he's in the correct tier for his experience.
Is that your motion?
That was a conversation.
I wanted to see what our fiscal officer said. He was supposed to be checking some things out financially.
That was it. I just told you what he told me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well-
So right now Dale's here. Dan would be here.
Okay,
So we either bump
so
Dan.
he's saying we have enough.
Yeah, to do the 250. If we're bumping the wage too, depending on how much they work, you know.
The wage is the only thing that I don't know right now because we bumped the wages up on officers so much at the initial
Reorg, yeah.
And I anticipated only having 3 officers at that time.
Yeah, 'cause we,
Bringing the 4th one in is gonna have a bearing on it, depending how many hours Dan makes himself available. At the average, what I was looking at, the average hours so far, I know might make himself more available too. I don't wanna go right up to that right away because you trustees helped me we gave the increases to the officers and to the siphons.
Right.
I just don't wanna be too.
we didn't do this one though, didn't we just leave it as it was?
We shared the responsibilities of the chief, assistant chief, and the captain, and said at this time, we were not gonna have another officer at this time.
But I meant when we didn't take it off, but we didn't change the wage on it
Right, that's right.
during the reorg, it's still at the same,
Yeah. it's
Yeah,
still-
we didn't
so we
take
don't
off.
have to do anything, just approving.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we hadn't set it at a different wage rate.
No.
The wage rate for the captain is what you see there on Mr.
I'm with your Adams.
Okay,
Nelson, is Mr.
Oh.
Nelson's.
So, yeah.
See the jump there?
so does that mean we would have to change what was in our organizational meeting then?
You can set the price, set his wage where it is, and then come back to it, especially after I do permanent appropriations, because I have time.
Yeah.
That's really
I
next
see what you're
meeting.
saying.
I don't want to be in
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
against what we already
Yeah.
did.
That way
We left that captain position alone because we weren't gonna fill it. So it never got a change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I'll make a motion to approve hiring Dan Adams as captain at the rate of $250 stipend.
And
And his hourly rate will stay the same at $16.50.
Trustee Varian, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, thank you.
Okay, and I'm not sure if Chief Parker, discuss the Life Pack 15 contract. Currently, we pay $444 a year for PM only. So,
Define PM only.
Preventive maintenance.
Okay.
So that a technician from Stryker comes in and goes over the 2 Life Pack 15s that we have, the heart monitors, the defibrillators. And basically, he just looks over them and does some basic PM stuff.
Okay.
We would like to increase that to a comprehensive plan, and there would be an increase in that. It's $1,530 a year, but that includes much more entailed PMs, maintenance. If we have to have maintenance on the monitors, the technician would come in, and there would be no service charge for him coming to the fire station to look to see what's wrong with the monitor. That also includes 3 replacement batteries. Each, when the batteries are 3 years old, they replace them for free of charge. Just the batteries alone, if we were to replace the 3 batteries we currently have, it would cost $1,350. So this comprehensive plan also includes when the batteries are 3 years old, they replace them free of cost. We also get a 10% discount when we order supplies for the Life Pack 15s that we have. So if we needed an SpO2 sensor, which we just replaced at the beginning of this year, and you've seen the cost of that, well, we'd get a 10% break on that price. And that goes with any supplies or equipment that we need for the Life Pack 15s. So we think it's well worth it. I mean, like I said, the batteries alone, if we had to replace all 3 of our batteries, it would cost $1,350.
When does this go into place? Like, if we were to agree to this, when would it start?
Well, this quote is dated for 2/25.
When did our existing agreement end?
It looks like 4/2. It'll be April
April.
2nd.
Okay.
This would take effect.
4/2, okay.
Yes.
And it's paid up front.
Yes,
One check of $1,530.
that's correct.
And then if we don't do it, we're at 4 what?
444. $444.
Company again, Assistant Chief Ruskin is a Stryker company.
Yes, Stryker is the company. And I do have the,
Do they have stuff in writing like what you talked about about, so I have it? Okay,
yes,
yes. All right.
yeah, if you'd like to.
Is that your copy? Or-
Yeah, Chief Parker gave that to me,
All right.
so I'm sure she could,
Well, let me make copies before you leave, and I'll give this back. But I'd like to
I think
have
we
that.
need to, I think we probably should do some research on what we've spent before we agree to.
Well, I can
That's
tell you
like
with Stryker,
$1,000.
we spent a lot more than $441 last year, because I remember that some additional costs, they had to come out. They had to go over some other things, and it was talked about having a future maintenance agreement with them.
Okay.
But we spent almost $1,000 with Stryker for just that purpose last year.
Okay. So we spent $444 for the service agreement and we spent $1,000 at least.
Yes, an additional 1,000.
Okay.
Because they had to come back, and then they evaluated, figured out the problem, then they came back again
Okay.
to fix it.
So fiscal officer, do you feel that this is a take a look at it, come back to it, or do you feel this is an approval and move on?
Being you have April 2nd, I'll have permanent appropriations in place April 1st after you hopefully approve at the next meeting. But I think it can happen at the next meeting if you want to table to them, so I just double check. But I
Can you
feel
tell-
it's workable.
Can you tell us how much we spent above and beyond the contract for 3 years? Not now, but for the next meeting?
If you want to see that, yeah, I can actually, pull that up pretty quick off of my UAN, what we paid with them.
Okay.
It may be a lot more than 1,500 a year, because we
You got
had some other
$2,000
costs back a
to
couple
work
of years ago.
If you take the batteries off, for 1,300, it's just 2,000 is the difference. So if you're spending more than that, then it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and then it also, what I heard was we don't pay the service call, we only pay parts
Parts
for
for,
repair.
Yeah.
Right.
So it'll save.
so
you
it sounds like it makes sense, but if it's okay, let's table this. Let's look at it next meeting,
okay?
just so we're making sure we're doing this right. I would assume, from what I'm hearing, it makes sense that this is gonna be a better deal for us.
I just.
Yeah. And then we'll still have it before they need to.
Second.
Yeah, great.
Sounds
Thank you.
The next item is replacement batteries for our TIC, our thermal imaging camera that we use for fires. Currently, we have 2 batteries that are, we estimate 2,000, they were purchased with the TIC in 2011. They won't hold a charge. They won't charge to full capacity. They're only charging to about 3/4, and then they lose their power rather quickly. So we're requesting that we are able to purchase 2 new batteries and a single charger. And we'll just swap out the batteries every week if we need to. At a cost of $275.
Is that for all three of the, is that 2 batteries and the charger all in?
That's 2 batteries and the charger.
Okay.
Yes. The itemized, I got to itemize the charger itself. Is $149.94, and the 2 thermal imaging batteries are $109.90.
Got it. Okay.
If you would like to see that.
And you said last time we purchased those was 2011?
2011, when the thermal imaging camera was new.
And what, was that with Stryker also?
No, that, I believe our tickets are Bullard. It's a company that makes thermal imaging cameras.
TIC?
TIC, yes.
Okay.
Now, the batteries we're purchasing aren't from Bullard because, of course, there's a little markup there on their part. So, Captain Adams actually found the same battery charger on Amazon, significantly cheaper.
Is it still the same name brand?
It is not, well, the batteries are comparable, yes, to what we have now. They're actually a little bit better of a battery.
Okay.
than we currently
Is
have.
it a question, being Captain Adams is giving the quote, and when I'm looking at it, it says $259.84. Are they putting tax on that? Because if he makes the purchase, I'd have to reimburse, and that's what I was wondering. I have a tax exempt Amazon if I can get on the same thing if the trustees decide to do this.
Okay,
Now, I'm sure that quote, yes, he just probably pulled it up on his Amazon account,
yeah,
but I'm sure we could
there's the bowl. with
Go
the
through your
bowl and everything.
tax-free Amazon account, we wouldn't pay taxes on that purchase.
Is that something I'm looking for?
I would say you're gonna have to get them.
Yeah.
The savings is there because I'm thinking it cost me when we bought them before. Cause I remember when we had to buy these one other time
Okay,
without going and researching, looking it all up.
all right. Trustee Varian moves to purchase 2 new batteries and a new charger for the TIC at the cost of $274.
Trustee Puro, second.
All those in favor?
All right. But you're gonna, Brian's gonna purchase.
Brian's gonna purchase them, I think, if we can get exactly what you need, he'll purchase them, and then he
I'm
ends up
gonna
to
say,
pay
it
way
looks
back.
like it's on that Better Universe going in. I see where he's at here. I think I can do that.
Oh, that would be great, and we greatly appreciate it.
Do you want me to discuss 249?
Absolutely.
Is that all right? And you can stop me if I do it wrong. So I got a phone call from Amy and Dan the other day, and they said, "Would you please come to the fire department?" I was like, "Oh, something's broke." So I don't really know how all this happened, but the end story is that the pump on the grass truck has a large crack in the pump. So either two things, from what I can see, two things here happened. Either the valve wasn't turned on for the water and it was run hot, or maybe both. Or without a return line, when the fire department fires the engine to test run it when they're not on fire, there's no return line back into the tank. So the pump builds pressure and there's no place to go. So one or the other. So I called the company Endurance Marine Products. They're out of Canada, but I called their Washington State branch. Talked to a real nice guy, Jeff. He said the whole pump's $250. Box it up, send it to you, which I didn't think was too bad. He said, but if you send me pictures of the case and the impeller, I might be able to do cheaper than that. I might be able to just send you the outside case and the impeller. The plan would be, and I was talking to Dan a little about this, if we put a new case on it and fix that crack and put an impeller in it, we were talking about just right out of the top of the pump, putting a return line back into that tank with a valve. And so when the fire department fires the engine to test run it, they have water coming in, they have water going back to the tank, nothing's going out the hose. Right now, it builds pressure and there's no place to go. So it's
just want us recirculating.
It's just recirculating it is all it's doing. Because they're not hooking the line up and running the line out. They're just firing the engine and testing it. So, I mean, to me, it could have been both. Someone could have fired it and been like, whoops, I don't have water on. And the case got hot. And then when the water came in, I don't know. I don't know. You know.
I think it's building pressure like that.
No.
Yeah.
So
You have to run that thing for a long time to crack a case with heat.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, because it's not that. I mean, it's probably would it be a plastic impeller in there? Could be. So anyhow, I got Endurance was they were good about it. The guy had me text him a picture of the model number, so I did that picture. He actually wants to see the crack case. He's very interested because he's like, I want to see where this thing cracked. You know, because he's on the mechanical side of it. Like they're his pumps. Like,
You don't have any pictures with you now?
I don't have any pictures with me now. I'm sorry. Just right. I mean, if you look down on the top of the pump, it's very visible. It's not the belly. You'd figure, oh, it got water in it, it froze, it expanded, the belly cracked. No, it's not. It's on the top.
It's on the top.
It's on the top, on the side and top. And you can see it right when you look down at it. Enough of a crack that you don't want to fire it. And it'll spread all over the place. So I've got some part information gathered. Dan Adams felt like he had a pretty good plan as far as a bung in the top of the pump, and then just a return line, drill a hole right in, put a fitting, run a line back in, and then it would just recirculate while they're test running it. So, so that's where we are on 249. At this point, there's no money to spend because I don't have any. I'm still working with the guy. He wants some pictures and some things. So once I have some more information, I'll get back to you. Is there any more on that, Tom? Is that about right?
That's about right.
Okay.
Because on our normal fire trucks, there's a recirculating valve that anytime you run the pump and you're not flowing water, you pull that recirculating valve and it keeps the pump cool.
Right.
And with this pump, there's no recirculating it when we run it. So just over time, it probably just get warm
Yeah.
Multiple times over and over again for,
And the pump is not that old. I don't expect to go after warranty work, but the gentleman did ask me when we buy it. I think that's parts desk, so I'm gonna try to get that number gathered from Brian. Because the pump's not that old. I mean, it's a year.
Yeah, I was gonna
oh,
say,
is that it?
probably less than 2 years since you put it
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a grass fire at our house. First time it was used. Not proud of it, but we did.
Your legacy as a trustee.
Amy was like, when did you have that grass fire? I'm like, why? She's like, because that's the first day we used it. I'm like, duh, you remembered. So anyway. Anything else for fire?
As you see in our runs, again, we're not turning many over. We received a mutual aid from Louisville on a two-car MVA at Pekin and Orchard View required a second ambulance. We had multiple patients, so.
Okay.
So that was the only thing.
Okay.
So how many runs did we have? It doesn't look like we have as many as what we usually.
No,
Is that? Okay.
That's correct.
it's down.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was missing something. Okay. Well,
All right.
That's good.
Great. A couple more things on the fire side here. I want to read, let's see, dispatch agreement for 2022 from NIM Fire.
And trustees, I just received this. It's from Nimishillen. It's the yearly agreement. I'll pass it down. This is the same amount we're paying now per call. That's what it is a month. And then there'll be a place, once you approve, there's 3 signatures I need from each one of you on there.
So is that an estimate of per month? Because it's $36 a call? Or was that what?
That's what they average it based on the calls of 2021.
I see.
And it didn't increase this time. Last year it was out at $36
Okay.
dollars per call.
Okay.
I got the folder. I keep that here that I have all the years so we can compare with any increases.
So when I was sitting in the Stark Council of Government meeting, that's a quarterly meeting, and that's ran by Sheriff Meyer. They, in there, announced that starting next year, I believe, Brian, that we'll have to start paying that fee for our Marks radios for our fire department. That annual fee per radio.
The marks.
Yes, that fee will kick in next year. I think it's $15 per radio,
Mhm.
but I might not be remembering correctly. It's at least 15, it might be. And then they also mentioned that Nimishillen will be on the Marks radio soon. And how, does that affect what we have with Nimishillen then or not?
Currently, CENTCOM
Yeah.
dispatches for both. New Michelin is currently on UHF, and pretty much everybody else is on the Marks radio. So it sounds like that they're going to finally switch over to the Marks
But
radio
it's not going to
system.
affect you guys contacting them or anything like that?
No, it'll actually make
Get better.
communication with them much easier. Because right now they carry one Marks radio on each of their vehicles.
Okay.
So if they come mutual aid to Osnaburg, assist us, they have to grab that Marks radio and then call us. And then if we go mutual aid to them, we have to contact them on the UHF, which we still have UHF mobiles in the vehicles.
Okay. So when we're looking at your final appropriations, we probably want to keep that in mind in the future here, that we will be able,
How many radios do you have up there?
I thought we had 18, but
That's what I couldn't remember
Do you
what that
remember?
was. I'm looking it up.
No, you have summer right in there.
yeah, I was thinking it was 18, but I could be wrong.
So we have what, didn't Stu have one?
Did you say it was $15 a month? Is that right?
Um,
$15 per radio per month? At 18 radios, that's gonna.
No, I think it's per year, isn't it,
Oh,
Brian?
okay.
I'm not
say.
going to say for sure.
I was gonna say, that's it. Per year, it's $270,
I
but
thought there was
per
one
month,
for
it's
everybody and then there was
$3,200.
like one or two that stayed in the.
Yeah, I thought we had one or two extra, but I was thinking we didn't get everything we wanted from our original order. For some reason, I'm thinking, so maybe you could get a count of how many of
You have
those
one?
radios we actually have.
You
Yes,
have one,
we can do that.
Okay.
a radio?
Do you have a Marks radio in the,
We still have our radios, the old ones, in our dump trucks,
You didn't get a Marks one.
You didn't
not
get
the new
one?
style.
Because
No,
we had talked about it, I know, in case you were out. on
because the
sick.
radios we have now, yet, that was their old ones before they went to them new marks. We can't hardly talk to each other like we used to. It's,
Yeah, no,
it's
you
not
can't.
even,
You just call
There's no
yourself.
tower.
yeah, we gotta try to call on our cell phones because it just breaks up. You don't hear about every other third word.
So we had a delay in getting our radios. Remember, we had to
Yeah.
keep waiting and waiting, and I think we didn't get the number that we wanted. We were supposed to be able to get some more, and then we weren't able to. So,
It was nice to be able to
Well,
have it on that band where we, the fire department and us were on there because
Tom, right now are all 18 that we have in use.
probably not.
No,
That's why I'm not
Because-
positive it's 18. I think it is,
Okay.
but you gotta
Yeah,
Because I
count.
feel like if there's one laying around, it'd be good for these guys to
I-
have one in their
I
truck.
know this much, don't quote me on it, but I remember it was 19. We
Okay.
were supposed to get one. At that time, you had 16 people on the
Osnaburg.
staff. And the extra ones were there as we brought people in. We did get all of what we were supposed to, because that was part of the original grant that paid for them. But to not knowing what's, exactly, I think it was 19. I don't remember us ordering any other than we talked about getting a road department so they could
Yeah,
communicate.
they were supposed to
Be
get
nice.
one, I thought.
Yeah, it'd be nice to.
There wasn't no order or no approval of anything to get to them. It was possibly we could use one of theirs or put one or, those are all portable, right, Tom? I mean, they're like
Yeah, they're just exactly the radio I have here.
they're just like that.
Yeah. And then, of course, our vehicles all have mobile mark
Yeah.
radios.
So just check to see what we actually have there.
Yeah,
And we have two of the old ones like
I
that.
feel like
Yeah,
if
but-
a
We're in
couple
here
of
on
those sitting around,
chargers
these
and we
guys
had
can-
our,
Yeah.
ones like he said in the trucks too.
Yeah, but yours won't work on Mark's.
No.
No, we cannot contact back and forth with them now.
Well, and they've
We
stopped
can
all
only
the
barely
other
try to hear
towers.
each other, but it doesn't work good anymore. We never hardly even use them anymore.
And actually, one of the towers that sat on American landfill that they were using,
Hmm.
they've now, I believe, sold that to Sandy Township. And Sandy Township is having a satellite mounted on it through a company, which will broadcast internet capability for, I think, up to 9 miles, which will come well into Osnaburg Township. So if there's residents looking for a different option for internet, it's either 9 or 12 miles. That could be an option for them if they're not getting, I don't think they've completed the deal yet, but they're just about, if they've completed it, the satellites are not up on the tower yet. So the tower is still sitting on, but that was a tower that was used for those radios that you're talking about, which they no longer use the tower, so they don't contract with American Landfill anymore for it. And the tower's disused, of which Sandy, and it was Bob Fouts, the one that was spearheaded that down there. So once they get it complete, we can let our residents know on, 9 to 12 miles will probably reach East Canton.
Yeah, right.
So that's just a different option for internet.
It was kind of nice when we still had those radios because it's easier to go like this and grab it and, squeeze the button and talk than fumble for your phone trying to,
Yeah,
you almost got to stop,
yeah.
We
Okay.
should have an extra radio around. If we do, we probably need to put it in with the road crew.
Yeah, Tom, if you don't mind checking into that, that'd be great.
Definitely.
We need to make an official motion on this. So Trustee Varian moves to pay Nimishillen Township $36 per incident for the 2022 year.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I would like to see us do a reevaluation on next year, whether it really is in our best interest to stay with Nimishillen or to go back to the county, to the sheriff's office for disbursement. So we looked at that before, but
Oh, okay.
Well, you just remember we bought that thing that's out there, that.
I didn't think we
dispatch
paid
board.
that much for it, though, did we? Maybe $1,000?
I thought it
Mathematically,
was
it's
5,000.
cheaper to stay right where you are because it was a lot higher to go to Stark County because you had to buy all new equipment.
How much was that? How much was that board?
Because you had to buy a board, they had to do all kinds of other things they had to add on. It was in like thousands of dollars. I was thinking some astronomical amount to switch us over. That's why one of the reasons was we didn't go with it. Because the board, I'm thinking it was 12 grand, 10 or 12 grand.
I remember
To
there
switch
was.
over.
Yeah, to switch over.
Okay. All right. I do not have any updates from the ambulance. Quotes, I talked to Amy, there's nothing new there, so we can talk about that another day. Need to approve it then and now for $850 for R&B truck and service. Just a side note on this one, this was a little bit of a communication drop, and I will take some credit for this if the credit is due. So we had an air brake issue on a truck. It was sent over to R&B's. And I think their opinion of getting the truck was fix it and send it back. And then once we got it back, Amy was like, "Oh, it must have been easy because it came right back." And so we waited for a small bill, and then the $850 bill came. So we did not approve that prior, but it is fixed. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this then and now for $850 to fix brakes. Do we know what truck
It's
number?
rear brakes.
Rear brakes. Do we know what truck number?
254.
Thank you. Rear brakes on truck 254 for $850 to R&B's Truck and Trailer Service.
Trustee USA.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Or do you want to send this down for signature?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. One last thing for the fire. Tom, do you have anything else?
I do not. Thank
Okay, great. Thank you. One last thing for the fire. We received this thank you card here. I'd like to read it. It says, Osnaburg Township Trustees, attention Brian Lowry. Please accept this check as a donation gift to the Osnaburg Township Firefighters Emergency Squad. We are so thankful and grateful that they were able to help us in our time of need. We are blessed to have people that serve in this capacity because they are such an asset to our township. Thanks again, Skip and Sandy Norman. And they sent a donation gift of $460.
Wow, impressive.
Very
Yes.
nice.
It's very
I
nice.
think that we need to give the fire department that note, and
Yes.
we need to put it in a frame.
Would you mind hanging this in the break
Oh, I
room?
absolutely will.
Thank
Do you have a return address so we can send a thank you card?
Yes, let me give you that. I'll
You got
give you
it.
a return address. This was not, yeah, okay. We already talked about that, never mind. I said this was not anonymous because I was allowed to read it, so. All right, I will write their address down.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And then, let the crews know who was on that call and the rest of them that came in.
I think there was some multiple calls when she talked to me, a couple of trips out.
Okay.
And they were very appreciative.
We can find that information out.
So Brian, where will you put that funds?
That goes in the fire, there's a donation fire fund in there. That goes right in there. That's where I receipted it.
All
It
right,
actually isn't officially appropriated yet, but it's in there.
great. All right, we're done with fire report. Let's move on to cemetery.
Our cemetery section had told me he thought he'd be here, but I'll give you my quick update. The office did receive 2 checks. I apologize because he probably had it for open and closing, one at Mapleton and one at Indian Run. I'm sorry, 2 at Mapleton. There was 2 at Mapleton. One was from Reed's Funeral and one's from Sanders. I don't have the names right in front of me, but that was done. Also, the cleanup over at Mapleton Cemetery, the gravel cleanup for Jim Beck's. He was able to do that on that Sunday. That was real nice and warm and sunny. And I know I'll let Stu elaborate, but I'll
Looks
tell
really
you,
nice.
it was very nice.
He did a great job.
He did
Can't even
everything.
tell it was ever.
No problem. It looks good.
Was the 2 opening closings then for lots we'd already sold before then?
No, they were both,
So those were lots 2 then?
no, the lots were already sold.
Okay, that's,
The open and closings are what was collected.
okay.
All right, anything else for cemetery?
Nothing.
Seeing none, we'll move on to road report. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. If the trustees read over the road report, is there any questions you'd like to ask?
So I see that Strasser was out. What'd they have to say?
They came out, they went out, looked at several of the allotments. From what Mike said, they usually take and check how wide the cracks are. If they don't go down very far, he says they're not a big problem. If they would get any bigger, he said they would come out and probably crack seal them. While he was in the allotment off of Route 30, I think he was, and up here at Maplebrook and Oakfield. That's when the machine was breaking down a lot. And we didn't like the looks of how some of the roads came together at intersections and stuff. He actually noticed that and made a comment about it, that he didn't like how that looked. And I said, well, I'm kind of glad you said that, because I didn't like them too much either last year, and I had mentioned that. So he said that if we're going to do some more work, this year, that if it would get any worse, they could just come in there when they crack seal other allotments for us, because we dropped some of the allotments last year. We didn't do all the ones we had on the list, that they could go over there and crack seal those possibly. And by the fact that they're going to be in here doing work for this county again, Stark County, he said that helps, keep the price down on.
So we have to pay to have them fix their cracks?
No,
Okay,
I said they'll come in and do those
Okay.
free.
I didn't hear the free word.
Yeah, I didn't hear it either.
Well,
That's what I was waiting
Yeah,
on.
they said they were
I
gonna do
think
it.
free
They
was
wasn't
a-
charging us for doing it. I said, well, you guys did this before, and I said, back in 13 when I came here, the roads and allotments I seen, they never cracked like that. I said, I know we've had a, exceptionally different winter this year, but I said, we had cracks on some of them before winter ever came.
Right, and this was sort of an experiment with us to see how it was gonna work out.
No, we've had them do
I
micro
didn't think we
sealing
did the
before.
micro seal before.
Yeah, we did, back in 13.
Well, that's before me, I'm not as old as you.
Oh. Anyways, yeah, they had problems with that machine, and I told him that, they had to take that machine back to Columbus and bring another one out, and then they finished up over on Klotz, and it looked much nicer. So I wasn't impressed with the job that machine did, because it kept kicking down and was not looking very nice at where they would come together at intersecting roads or intersections. So they are working me up a quote for all the rest of the roads that were dropped off of the list last year, out of the total list, and they will get back to me to let me know how much those are gonna run.
And trustees, I'll just let you know on that, help me out, Stu, on the name of that company. Is
Strasser Construction.
They are a state bid, so you don't bid,
Yeah.
you don't have to bid
You
them
don't have to
out.
bid it up.
You just make an approval
They're the
based
only
on
ones
what
that
we
does
do
it.
on the rest of it. Okay? Just a reminder of that.
So we don't have to worry about, advertising and all.
Okay. All right. Any other things on the report? We'll move on to a couple of our bullets here in the road report. Updates on salt shed.
I talked to, what's his name?
Dwayne Miller.
Dwayne,
Dwayne last week, and he's getting motivated. I don't know, I'm gonna call him again tomorrow and see, but he was waiting on the poured wall guy. He said as soon as poured wall gave him a go ahead, he's gonna take the footers, and he's hoping for this week. He was hoping to be by end last week, so I'll call. He said the building was gonna be delivered. What day did I talk to you? It should have been delivered by the end of last week.
last week.
And I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys, but I called Dwayne too, because I didn't see him. And so I called him, it was today. Today's Monday. I called him Friday. And I said, hey, we have a meeting. He called me today. And he said, he called me back today and said he was working up in Worcester or something. And he said that I know we've gone down this road before, but he said that he's said the same thing to me. He's setting his people up to do footers. He'd like to have the footers in the next 2 weeks. He said, drop dead, the thing is standing, and I'm done by the end of April.
Did he
But-
tell you about the building?
The first time I talked to him on Friday, he said, I got an email, the building's supposed to ship this week, like this week. So he said, I have an email that says the building's supposed to ship this week, so it should be landing there. And then he said, well, I'm more interested in the footers and getting started. He said, well, that should be in the next 2 weeks. And he said, the thing should be done by the end of April. So that's the information I got.
I waited today. I'm gonna call him again tomorrow.
Okay.
This morning.
Yeah, if you call, you talk to me, so you call him.
Okay.
I thought I'd try him. You know?
Yeah,
I thought I'd try him. So, and he was good. He called me back today. So
We need to keep the pressure on.
he called me before I called him, so it's good. So we do have a per diem set up in this agreement in the next 4 days, come March 18th. It's $100 a day. And my personal opinion is that we charge him that. That comes off the bill. I mean, this thing's a year old.
Till it's
So-
done.
So it's $100 a day off the door
$100 a
until it's
day.
done.
We
Yeah.
talked about that with him.
Yep.
It's in the agreement.
It's in the agreement.
If it's
He signed it.
if it's
Right.
a month old, if it's a month late, it's $3,000. If it's 2 months late, it's $6,000. If it's 3 months late, it's $9,000. So that'll be a motivator.
That's right.
But I think we let him keep doing his thing and charge the per
If
diem.
either one of you talk to him, remind him of that, because it isn't a weather delay. and
I'll
so-
remind him of that, but you're not gonna win that battle.
Yeah, I don't think we
You
because
win
of-
it, but you
because of-
trustees not paying it.
I say we put the heat on him for it, but because of the weather, you'll not win that battle.
He has not brought the documentation in. He has not contacted us. He has not given us anything. Read the agreement. That's something that we paid $1,100 for. So this guy didn't do this to us again.
Yeah, we've got $1,100 in Charlie Hall alone, and he pushed for him. And here we are. So
The salt shed should have been up last year. You guys gave him an opportunity. You have an agreement. He hasn't given us anything yet other than steel and an invoice of whatever it's called, bill of lading. It's not even a bill. It just says that it was here. That's all we have received.
what does this be? The current year salt shed contract expires at 12/7/31.
For salt, ordering
Oh,
salt.
that's, I'm sorry, that's salt.
Ordering the salt.
Okay, got it.
We
And
have
then-
to order,
We have to
salt.
transfer, yes.
We have to order salt
So,
and get it in here. So it's billed before that date to get this year's price. Or we're gonna pay about 20 G's more.
and maybe Mr. Miller knows that because the number that I got was, it's gonna be done by the end of April. I'm sure he's like maybe thinking about that April date. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I don't know if he knows
I
that.
know.
You don't know that. You don't
So
care.
we have to project our salt usage by April 1st.
Yes.
Okay. And
Do we have a total for this year so
what's our
far?
total? Yeah.
Right now, 554 ton has been purchased. Stu can tell you how much he put on.
There's only about 200. There's only about 200 ton up there right now. I have one empty bin
Okay.
after Friday and Saturday night, Friday morning, or Friday night, Saturday morning.
Well, hopefully we don't need any more.
Well, I'm not really wanting to order and fill that section back up because
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
wanting to clean that
You
one
want to clean
bin
it
out.
out? Yeah.
I want to clean it out and be able to put nines in there because we are going to be using a lot of nines this year to fix roads. I can only put one truckload in that little teeny bin at a time, and I'm hoping to clean one of them out and load nines in that.
Okay. All right. So do we need to make a move on C, the projected salt usage? We don't need to do anything on that. That's just a heads up.
Table that to the next
Okay.
one, but you gotta have it to them by April 1st. Stu and I usually work on that, present it.
Okay.
And I think more than anything, think we need to know how much funding, how much of our budget do we want to spend on salt?
It's already there. Money's laying there, over $60,000 from last year, which
Okay.
give you almost 1,000 ton to go in that new
So
salt shed.
we could order
Plus-
800 ton if we wanted.
Plus-
Let's order more.
Well, you
We,
still got a couple hundred
I
ton.
know that.
but at the same token, if we are going to purchase, say it gets done on time, or it gets done that we can purchase, whether it's before or after that,
Mhm.
you could put as much as you want in there, probably 1,000, 1,100. I think this thing's supposed to hold 1,200, 1,300 ton
Supposed
if
to
we
be
need
about
to.
1,400 ton.
But to put down a number for Stark County, I'd say I'd leave it at 900 because you can go as percentage over and you have to stay within a percentage under it. So as long as you use that same number, we used 900 ton the last 2 years. And right now we're at 554. I'm like Stu, I hope we don't have to buy any more, but it's so close. We only need 300 more ton to be where we would be right on the money. But we don't have to buy that whole 900. We
I
have
was
to be
gonna say,
80% of it.
At 900, that's 2+ years.
Yeah, did we buy enough this year to meet our
No.
required
That's
percentage?
what he
That's
just
what I'm
said.
saying, that
Okay.
We
550.
did not do it yet.
No.
No.
We're
But-
short 300 ton.
But we're within 80%.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
within the 80%.
But what I'm looking at is if we purchase 554 ton and there's 200 ton land out there and we're gonna put 900 ton in a new building, that's 3 years.
No, that's
No.
just 1 year.
That's just 1 year.
That's just 1 year.
That's just roughly 1 year.
Because this year so far, knock on wood, you've only used from how many ton was up on the hill when we started? We didn't have to,
300.
okay, we didn't have to order any in the
So
fall.
300
That's
was-
why we didn't have to order because we
So
were.
300 was up there
Yep.
and you've purchased 540,
Yes.
554.
Add
Add that all together.
So you're at 850. Okay, there you go.
They
That,
average about 600 to 700 tons.
okay.
But we've
got
had
it.
bad
That
winters
makes-
where we went
that
way
makes
over
more
1,000.
Once.
I have my math.
One
I'm like,
time.
wait a minute. Okay,
I got
cool.
the numbers at home. We've only went over 1,000 in
So-
the last 10 years one time.
Randy, when you talk to him, we can't, well, I guess we can still order 900 ton.
Yeah,
We don't
that's
have to
what
take it
Brian's
all
saying.
at once. But just let him know we're having to turn in our salt order.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
put it
how
in.
much time he's gonna be moving or he's gonna be losing money.
Yep.
That ought to be a motivator.
That's right. That's true.
Would be to me.
It would be to me. All right, D, culvert replaced quote.
That Stu might bring that up. I kind of jumped the gun. I had something I was trying to help him with, but I think he needed to get some.
Yeah, I was waiting to get some asphalt prices, but no, what, we're starting to go to the north of 30 now for our chip and seal project this year. I mean, we still have 2 roads that we have to do on the south side, which is Duble and Sam Crable. But on the north side, I'm wanting to replace 2 culverts that need replaced. One's on Mitty right there, we were talking about where that swampy ground is, that Storenson or whatever their name is, it lives on 44. The road keeps caving on both sides at the edge of the roads. And I'm wanting to replace that before we go and chip and seal and fix Mitty all up, and on Slater off of Georgetown, that little dead end road. Back at the back end, whoever put that culvert in a long time ago, it's an old galvanized, it's starting to rust out. It wasn't even laid in there right. It's running the wrong way for the water to go through it.
Oh, geez.
And
Do
it's
you-
flooding the properties.
Do you want to table until you get some more information, or do you think you have what you need?
Well, I have everything except for wanting to know where the blacktop prices are.
Okay.
So, I mean, we could wait until the next meeting.
It would help
Yeah.
because I'll have permanent appropriations.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would help.
All right, let's
Yep.
let's table that.
Okay.
All right, any updates on the road truck?
I am still waiting on some chassis to come back. I got a price from Kaleida for the plow, all the accessories on the truck. So it's slow. I'm still waiting on some truck dealerships to get back to me with pricing.
Sounds good. All right, anything else for road?
We have the estimate on fixing that bad spot back on Duble. They got tore up when our truck went off there during that one storm, tore the guy's yard up, Ash's yard. Derek Ash, I think's his name. Jimmy came out the other day and looked at it and gave us a quote.
How do we
That's long
typically
hair.
handle something like this, like a repair on a yard on the road truck? Where's that taken from usually?
Usually it's taken out of
Is it
the
the
road.
road- is it out of the road?
There's 3
Okay.
road funds. I
Okay.
usually take a little bit out of each one because I have that set aside there.
And you said Jimmy Beck did a good job on this last one.
Yeah, and also you could turn this into insurance. It's your $250 deductible. You got that because it was a damage. Just like say one of the trucks went off and ran over a mailbox. We
Right.
have the deductibles for that. This is the same thing if you wanted to go that route.
Is that to a Tarma?
Yes. Because this was due to the bad weather. The guys, had a tough
Yeah.
time and
They couldn't see where they was going, it was like a blizzard out.
It doesn't hurt us to turn it in, correct?
no.
Yeah, I say we turn it in. And I think it's an invoice. I'll make a motion that we approve Beck's Lawn Care for the fixing of the sod at Duble Street for $525.
Trustee Pugh saying,
All those in favor? Aye.
And turn in the insurance too.
Okay. So the insurance will,
Cover
our
250.
deductible will be 250,
Yeah,
and then they'll cover the difference.
Yeah, once I get that, I give it, they'll probably cut a check for the balance.
Okay.
Like the 250, and then we'll have to pay that difference.
Gotcha. All right, anything else for the road?
I called up at Lepo's here
Okay.
last week. Still waiting on the part. Hasn't showed up.
Okay.
So I'm probably gonna call them tomorrow and talk to the guy in parts and ask him to track it and see where it's at.
Didn't they say about the end of March originally?
Yes. And that's why, I mean, we're already to the middle of the month almost.
I
Tomorrow,
thought
the
they
next
said it
day,
wouldn't
is the
be
middle of this
until,
month.
I thought they said it wouldn't be until the end of the month.
No, no, they said it was,
Into February.
yeah, end of
Okay,
February,
I just
first of
just
March.
clarifying, yeah.
Okay.
And we're in the middle of March.
What part is this for again?
It's the rotators, the part down inside
Of the
that has
mini-
many, all about,
Yeah, okay,
I forget how many hoses goes to it.
okay, got it.
It's made in Ukraine.
Ooh. Got it. Okay,
Your two purchase orders, too.
Yeah, we have, I need a purchase order from Triad of Technologies.
okay,
I called to order some parts for the flail mower last week
okay,
and found out that the hydraulic hoses that swivel on it, we've had tons of trouble with these things, but the O-ring kits, we have to keep, we go
Okay.
through them like crazy.
okay,
Well, here I found out from talking to Mark down there in Cambridge that now they got rid of those and went with an
oh, they
actual
went with a different
90.
system,
Huh?
they went with a different system.
Yes. And he was telling me about a township in Florida that came up with this. And
They love it.
so Mark told me about it and said that here he had two of the fittings
Okay,
there at their shop. And so he sent the two fittings, didn't even charge us for them,
oh, cool,
gave them to us and sent them with the knives and the clevises.
Great.
It was very nice about that. So
Right.
we looked everything over. We wanted to ask for a purchase. We checked with Triad about getting two hoses made
okay.
with the new fittings on the ends for the other ends.
So what's your total to Triad?
It would come to $576.24.
Okay.
So I will make a motion to approve Triad Technologies for $576.24 for hoses.
Trustee Varian, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the other one was for Motrin, and that's the blades and the shanks that I was just talking about.
Terrible with the goes, sorry. Thank you, Brendan.
How much is that one?
And that one, for what I need for the blades and shanks would be $307.24.
Trustee Puro moves to pay $307.24 to Motrin for new blades.
Trustee Varian, second, all those in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Have you done spending money yet?
What?
Anything else?
No, I think I've shopped enough.
I think I'm shocked.
I had a question for you, Stu. There, when I turn in to go to the church by Larry Smith's, that one branch is left on that tree, hangs out. It just looks like the whole thing's dead. Is that
You mean
gonna-
that huge limits?
Yeah,
When we get the mini back, we'll go up there and
just take it down.
We'll
I'm
take it
afraid
off
it's
and
gonna fall. and
grab
stuff.
it and chop in a couple pieces and get it in the back of the 550. Get it
There's a
out.
lot of
I've been
kids-
looking at it too. I don't like it
just
hanging
looks
there
bad.
either.
I mean, it looks like it's dead.
And we
It's
might
come
got a
off.
couple other small ones there that are hanging out too. Just
If it wasn't so big
right.
and it covers the whole road.
Well, remember the last big one that came off there, they
Yeah,
drug it across over into the yard on the other side and tore big ruts up,
Okay.
trying to just drag it because it was so big.
I'm just thinking spring, we start to get into these storms and the wind. I'm just concerned somebody might get hurt with it. It
I
just looks-
stopped there Saturday when we had the high winds. We had a big tree go down on Mapleton Street right there between Darrell Ivan's parents' old place where
Oh,
Cindy
yeah,
Clapper lives.
Yep.
And Harold Bay's old place.
Yep.
That tree only came within about 10 feet of the house. And
Big
right when
tree.
it came down, it brought all the wires down and it just missed Darla, her daughter, backing out of the driveway, all the wires coming down on top of her. I mean, she just got out straight parallel on the road and the wires come in. It made a mess. It took out the transformer box, everything. There was that big huge oak
Just
on
when
the
I
north
looked-
side, come clear across the road off that high bank.
When I looked at it again, I thought this would be something that would probably be good to be preemptive and get it down before it falls.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just because it's hanging over a road's back.
You never know with these trees now because they look fine looking at them.
Yeah,
If
along
they
the
snap
center.
off at the ground, that's what this big oak is.
So I had a question too. Then when I went up that street, I see all that cut lumber laying there.
That's Larry's Smith.
So are they gonna,
I'm kind of surprised. I hope that they'd have went in there and grabbed that out of there when it was froze hard, you know, everything was stiffened up. Now the roads are, you know, thawing out and
Mhm.
getting soft and they're gonna load them from the road.
those are some
I'm-
really big logs.
I need to stop and ask Larry when he thinks they're gonna come in there because,
Yeah.
I mean, they're all laying right in the ditch. All the noses of them.
Right. Does he have the same company though?
I think the same company did his and did for Gary McKinney's boy over there on
Isn't there
Westfall.
still some laying on Westfall? I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, both places.
Yeah.
There at the Oil Well Drive on Westfall.
Yeah.
Gary, either his son-in-law or sons, and then Larry Smith's are on Hill Church. Which they're gonna need to get out of there because we're gonna need to mow and
Yeah. We just want to know who's in there in case they damage our roads.
I know that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, moving along to the zoning report. I'm glad Mary's making some money. Stu's spending it all.
So we've had 6 permits since the last meeting. For that non-conforming use, there was no fee because there's no fee in the fee schedule. And when I was looking for the application, I saw a letter that also said there was no fee charged for the last one we did.
Okay. So the same family got the non-conforming use certificate and a building permit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's over at the golf course.
Gotcha.
So on the nuisance side, the house over on Indian Run, I drove by a couple times. There's trash by the camper and under the camper and it's been all along there. So I'm going to contact them again, see if they'll clean it up.
I actually think someone's staying in the camper now.
It
It
looks
appears
like
that way.
there's somebody in the camper. I know driving by one time, there was a lady hanging out at the door of the camper. Other than that, I haven't seen really any change with the other 2. The commission meets next Monday. And from that meeting last Monday for the Board of Zoning Appeals, both of those were approved. So the storage units over on Broadway and the golf course new building.
I will say the room was really full in support of the golf course.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there were a lot of people here for that.
Zoning Inspector Brocker, did we change that time of the meetings for the commission to 7?
Yeah, it's 7 now for the commission.
I need to do an update
Um,
on the website. I did on the other.
just as an update, there was a property in the township that we had lots of discussion about over the years. It's at the end of Nickel Plate. That house has been purchased and they're actually starting to reno it. I don't know what company it is, but we're starting to see some action in the right direction of that property, which is great to see because it's been a lot of years of back and forth on that. And the other thing I have, I'll just talk about real quick.
Wait, go back. So someone did purchase it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been in there.
They're
Okay.
working. Yep. Yeah, it was purchased by maybe a house flipper, I would guess.
Okay.
But maybe not. Looks like it's a company truck. It's in and out of there, working. And the other one I have is a resident named Lucy Begg, who lives. Give me 1 second here. Do you have her address in front? It's Lincoln, or is it no?
87,
It's
yeah,
Sindel.
8779 Lincoln.
Okay. So Lucy contacted the office and they sent it over to me to give a call to her. She and her husband, over the past few years, have had some disputes with their neighbor as far as property lines go. She lives off the road and has a driveway that goes back, which was old 30. And so they've had a long line of disputes, and this is back when we've had other zoning inspectors, and I think people have helped with it in the past. My response to her is that I would bring it up today, but until we have to live amongst our laws and statutes, and when it's a resident versus a resident, and the resident that she's upset about is not breaking any nuisance or violation codes, where our hands are a bit tied. And so I explained that to her. She's sought counsel. There's been restraining orders against both parties.
What's the location?
The location, do you know where the little pull off is on Lincoln Way across from
The park and ride.
Park and Ride out there past the golf
Oh.
course?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So the house she has an issue with sits right on the road. Her driveway goes back and up old Route 30, and she sits back in.
Okay.
And so they zoned it, they surveyed it, they told the neighbor that she in fact owns it. He has stuff on her property. They've been back and forth. So I encouraged her to continue to seek her legal counsel because she has a laundry list of things that's happened. I don't exactly know what she wants us to do on our end because at this point, the resident isn't breaking any zoning rules.
He's
Or
got,
nuisance
he's
rules.
got stuff on her property,
He does.
that wouldn't take very long to get rid of it.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I
And
was her.
that's what
Just escalate the,
and that's what the attorney has said. You go haul it off. You know?
Right.
yeah.
Um,
It's really a legal issue. It's not a town.
Civil
It's not
matter.
a zoning. It is.
It's a civil matter. And so I tried to explain that to her. At one point, there was a restraining order from one or the other, and she went to get her mail. And so the cops were called, and once they took her in, they sent her back home and said, you were standing on your property. So that's kind of where they are. So they've been kind of back and forth. So I told her that I'd bring it up, and I will call her back and tell her that at this point, our hands are tied, and the fact that
Is he bringing that up right now? Or something else?
you bring up that property, Brian.
I was trying to.
Oh, okay. The driveway goes back Old 30, which was once owned by the state, and then it was given up. The Mangus farm is the farm they bought, and there's documentation that shows that
Sits way back in there.
it's his way
I
back
used
in.
to farm back in there.
Yeah. So they said that they have documentation that says that the Mangus farm, which they purchased, owns, and they've had surveyors out and dropped stakes and pins, and they've done all this. So they don't have an easement. They own all the way to the road, this little sliver, all the way to the road, but this gentleman's parking stuff on their property, so I did the best I could with it, and I'll call her again.
It sounds like she just needs to proceed legally. with it.
I asked her, she said, we've had a couple attorneys that just won't follow through, and we paid a lot of money, and no one wants to see it through because the neighbor's so nasty. So anyhow,
Do you know what kind of stuff it is?
at one point there were cars, and then once they went down one road, he moved the cars, but now it's trash and golf cart and tires and some different things.
Stuff, lots of value.
Oh yeah, it's junk. Yeah. But I think at this point there's been such a dispute that I don't know if you can see the right.
I'm trying to, the place that right here it is, this.
I can't see anything through that gray head.
Let me just- let me see now.
So the right down, actually can you go down to 30 there?
That's what I'm saying, is this,
No, that's the golf course. Here you go. So it's actually right. That's the
You
right
like
way.
midpoint.
this is the right way we're talking
Yeah, that's
about?
what I was hoping.
This
It'd
is
be
the
like the
address
weather
of the
guy.
house.
Yep, it goes way back in there.
What do you want to look at? Down
So
by
go
the
down a
road?
little further. Go down a little
Route
further.
30, this right away or anything?
Oh, it's that little skinny piece
That little
there.
skinny piece. Yeah. So, yeah, the driveway. Now there's the parking ride. Yep. So her driveway, I believe the issue's here. Her driveway goes all the way back. It's a long drive, but I believe that map's a little off because you can see
Those
the
maps
right
can be off by
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
good 20 yards.
This looks like they might be here is what they're using in that
way.
area.
Yes.
And they're
So,
coming
and
down.
I didn't even get to it where the stuff is parked. I couldn't even tell you. But you can see the path that goes all the way back.
It's a long
It's a
driveway.
long driveway.
Here's a parking right.
I don't
You're
know.
going back there probably 3/4 of a mile.
Do you
Yeah, I
do
just
you
went
plow the
by.
parking ride?
The-
No, that's on state route.
No, that's a state
But
route.
do you see it ever plowed?
What's that?
Does it ever get plowed?
Is that the
What,
state?
that little,
plaza?
that little pull up?
Yeah.
I think the state does because the state trucks go in there and park
Oh, okay.
sometimes and sit there and rest while they're waiting to go again.
Yeah. Yep.
I
But it's
think
getting rough in there. The parking lot's getting all broke
To be
up.
honest with you, I don't know if the issue is with the house there next to the parking lot to the left or if it's the one to the right. Couldn't tell you.
my understanding it's the one with the park and ride and the one beside it
Both.
as well. So
Got
like the one on the other side.
This is the parking area, the one off to the left.
They're having trouble with both neighbors.
Both neighbors.
Not that one, from my understanding, but the other way.
Got it. Okay. I will call her back. All right. I'm sorry, Mary. Go ahead with whatever else you have going on.
One more question. Is that the only access of frontage they have then?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a big parcel though. When it gets back in there.
When you go back in, it's a big whole farm.
Yeah, there you go. There's a couple, they have a couple of them.
This is,
That's the big
this
one.
is, this is where they live, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Then
No
you got
other
a big
roads
field
for
that goes
access
back through there. Because we
Well,
used to go back and build.
Well, and when I originally started talking to her, I said, oh, are you
It's all surrounded by
But it
wood.
looks like the triangle there comes really close. Go up the other way, Brian.
Oh,
Drive
yeah.
it the other way, back towards 30.
The triangle goes real close. Yeah,
Real
you're right.
close there, that maybe I would seek one of the other neighbors to see if they could get, an easement for a drive there.
I will tell you that right where your pointer is, if you go over a little bit, that house, that was Dean and Ruth Varian's property when I was little, right there.
Mhm.
And I grew up hanging out in that house. To the left, that is a steep hill.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's a drop off
Yeah.
to 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
We played in that. We used to
That's
play
where
in
the
that
cutoff
woods.
cut
Yeah,
through.
but you're
Yeah.
right. See how close that is? They could do a whole new driveway and avoid that.
Had to take outside of a mountain.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I originally when I started talking to her, I said, "Are you landlocked?" And she said, "No, we own to the road." And I was like, "Okay." So I didn't know if they had an easement written or something that they could come and go from somebody else's
It
property.
looks like they own that, but still.
Yeah.
Now you could never get anything through regional planning like that. They'd never let you split a lot like that.
So I wanted to bring that up because I said that I would. And so back to you, Miss Mary.
But we have sympathy for it, but we
We
have no
absolutely
legal
do.
recourse.
I completely agree.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Again, last thing I'll add is that we still desperately need to find 2 members to go on to the BZA. We've got our commission staff, not fully, but well.
Can we promote that on our Facebook page? Can we somehow socially promote that outside? I mean, we could do it on our
Do we have
website.
a Facebook page? We have a website. I don't think we
Yeah.
have Facebook.
No. I meant to say website. I was thinking fire department Facebook for a minute. Can we promote needing those publicly? Are we allowed to do that?
Yeah, we've advertised before.
Okay.
We advertise on our news section. But
Okay.
yeah, when you look at the zoning board of appeals, you only have 3, but you go down to your commission.
Is Rick on that now? Go back
Rick,
up there.
Rick,
Rick,
Rick was down here.
yeah,
He's
but
on-
he changed to
He
the,
should be at the BZA.
He should be up one.
yeah.
He should be up on the BZA.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
moved him up.
Well, that helps.
It helps
out
it.
now.
Well, but there's supposed to be 5 plus 2 more, so they're short 3 members.
Okay.
And now with one of them being out, now they're down to 3 members. So, and when they did do their vote on one of those issues, they were 2 for and 1 against. And actually it was 1 and 1, and then the chair had to break the tie.
Got
We don't want to get stuck in that.
it. Yeah.
Which 3's a quorum for them out of the 5. But we desperately need to find, and they don't meet every month. Though it seems like you have been lately. There's been
Lately,
hearings.
there's been quite a few.
Quite a few
meetings.
But you don't have any hearings in the works right now, do you?
Not that I know.
So the April will probably be not a meeting then at this point. So they don't meet every month.
Yeah.
We did, Mary, if you look back, we used to have an ad for the BZA and the commission both. I don't want to put the commission out there because we're okay, even though we have room for at least another one. We desperately need people on the BZA.
Okay.
And right now we're sitting with 2 males, 2 females, which is pretty good. Doesn't really matter. Try to keep some diversity there among the members. But if we could find that ad, maybe Brian, we can get it posted again.
Okay.
And make sure it says, you're compensated $30 per meeting to,
I want to make sure I didn't miss something on minutes with Rick because I thought I took that off my minutes.
Or if Pete Dasco. I wonder if Pete Dasco was willing to do that. He lives across the street. He's right here.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to convince,
My dad would maybe do it.
what was right here, you said,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah, Butler. No, Hill.
yeah,
Yeah, I said something to her too. She told me no. She was real sweet about it, but she said no.
yeah. Because we'd like to have some younger people.
Yeah.
I mean, older people are fine too. We're just trying to get a diversity in the membership.
Right.
On those.
All right, anything else for zoning?
That's it.
All right, we're moving on. Old business. Update on Phil Francis, Sucos Park project.
Phil's our trustee for the Bank Huntington. I think I got everyone a copy of the trust, our first statement, showing what this is. You know, I looked at it, I'm not used to looking at trusts. So he offered to come in anytime, whether it was a work session, whether it's prior to a meeting, work session, something to answer any questions you trustees may have at looking at that report. Him and I just discussed it briefly, but it was like $890,000 in there that's at the present time, that's being worked on interest in the Huntington Bank where they have it invested. There's other the properties and things that are in the process of still selling that have value to it. And Trustee Varian, Griffith, and Piro, you might have seen these trusts before. I have not.
Yeah, so why do you think there's, because this is showing the ending market value as of February 28th at $1 million, just under $1.3 million.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that money is earmarked to come out and go to somewhere else?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. Some of that money hasn't developed because it's in real estate. That isn't cash.
This
in it.
470 is in real estate. So that's not in
Yeah, your
cash.
470 is your real estate.
That's just a market value.
802 market value is what they're using. Now, keep in mind, what I'm looking there's a different place on there. It says the dollar amount. There isn't 1.3 million or 1.2 million in a bank account yet.
Right.
It's in real estate.
Yeah.
It's a trust. It's different than having a bank statement. Like when you know you have $1.2 million in
The
it.
trust is total value of asset value. Yep.
And trustees, I'm not used to looking at that stuff like that, so he offered to come in, Phil offered to come in and answer any questions you may have. We're supposed to get this monthly now, so we'll be getting a report monthly on it.
Did he say if he received a response from Stark Parks on his other property?
As of at the last meeting, I reported that he did not. He said they're still in limbo on that property. It's up by the railroad in Washington Township. They were still waiting on a response.
So just to clarify, so if you look at real estate value at 470,000, and you flip to the third page, it says portfolio detail. In two down, you've got Broadway Avenue at 255,000. So the land that we're looking to build a park on is actually in the portfolio value because the trust shows everything. So we wouldn't sell the land we're going to build a park on, but it has a $255,000 value, market value. That's shown in the total. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the whole trust is everything. We're not going to sell that. So that's 255 isn't available because it's in value in land. It's not in value in asset, in cash asset.
What he explained to me is that 890,000 is real close to
So where you'll land.
where your
Once the
land
property
was.
is sold.
Yes.
Yep. That sliver is sold. Yeah.
That piece of property that's in Canton that we didn't have to do anything with, they haven't actually sold that yet. He's estimating hopefully getting $80,000 to $100,000 out of that.
Gotcha.
That'll go in, that'll be hard money going towards the trust.
Yep. All right, sounds good. Moving along. New emails and website updates.
Yeah, trustees, I want to make sure that everybody got this. I know I pass these down to everybody.
Sure. There you are.
I know you have one here, but I'm gonna give you another one. I know Stu, I'll give one to Tom and Mary, just so you guys have some, because it has everybody's email on it, new email. And Stu, I know I got yours here too.
Yep.
These are the, when you look at these documents here, the administrator email is myself right now that got started. That means if anybody gets locked out, has any problems, I can get them right back in. and I have an app on my phone to get in there to do that. The alias names, that's what you can use on your, like if you're emailing back and forth. If you email, like, once you go online and set your email up, your email is set up. You just got to get on there and set up your passwords. I know Assistant Chief Ruskin has, Chief Adam has. I don't know if Trustee Varian had. I just got this stuff to everybody. I know I got to Cemetery Section Ryan, but basically everybody has that generic temporary password. It's good for 21 days. I'd say it's only good about 18 days now. But you need to sign on to GoDaddy email, and you'll see a box there. It's for the user, and you can put in either trustee. You can see your name across, like Brenda, you're trustee 2, and Randy, you're trustee 3, or you can use R. Piro or B. Griffith, either one. And then you use your temporary password, then it'll immediately ask you to change your password.
Yeah.
Then you put it whatever you want.
So where are we supposed to go to do this?
You go to GoDaddy emails. And I
So
do not
that's
have
the
that on there.
website?
That's what I got from Brian.
I didn't get everything out to all of you right away yet because I'm just getting it.
You got that? Okay.
It'll tell you how to, yeah.
Once you get on there, every email that's coming to our website now, everybody has a, I'll get to trustees up here. If you go to elected officials, trustee, Cliff pops up here. There's an email icon underneath Cliff. And Brenda, there's one under you and one under you, Randy. When anybody clicks that, it's on the website. They click that. I'll click on Randy here. It'll send up a,
I don't know if you just asked it to me. But it looks like
do it. It'll get a form and they have to put their name down. The phone numbers are optional. They put down their email, what they might want to discuss, or maybe they're passing some information on to you, and then they hit send. They get a confirmation back that they received it, or you will have, the person that sent it to you gets a confirmation that you'll be looking into it and respond within 24 hours or something like that. It just gives you, I don't even know if it said 24 hours. I thought I had it on there, but it'll respond back to you and let you know that, let them know that you got it. And then it's up to you how you want to do it. If you've got your emails going to a private email, be careful, because when you respond, you should respond back with this new email to be secure. You can, maybe it's just give me a call. I don't know how a lot of people do it any way they want. Stu's doing pretty good with it, and he just got it here a day ago.
Brian, Cliff has an email you sent him. I don't have that email. Did you send one to
Did
me?
you say that with everybody?
Yeah, I did not send it to him because when I sent it to you yesterday, it was like kind of like I'm trying to get it all together.
Oh, that's
Okay, so you are gonna send us one?
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And it's one of them things where it kind of crashed together. I wanted to
Yeah.
copy and paste and then personalize it to each one of them.
Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
good. I have everything I need to do it. I just gotta do it. All right, thank you.
And then, to update on the website, other than I caught some mistakes like with Rick Wakeham and some of that. Bill has made himself available from Castleberry Digital Promotion, that if any of you need any help or any suggestions or anything you don't understand, he's made himself available, that, we can call him up. If there's something we need to tweak, no problem. He did give us a bill based on what he has done, but he said, Brian, there's no problem with doing anything and no additional charges, as long as it's not something major that we need changed. But the tabs have been updated, like these mistakes that I didn't catch on Rick Wakeham. There's the time on the 7 p.m. on your zoning meeting. If you see anything else that needs changed, he'll do that.
So he'll do that for free once you pay him this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's,
All right.
it's one of those things that I know that Stu, I think we just had his over on one day and he already got one from it. And somebody had probably looked at Osnaburg Township, saw road, saw Stu, and bang, clicked it and sent him an email. And it's like, he goes, man, I got one already. So it does happen pretty
So
fast.
you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Is that what it said?
We got somebody's mailbox off,
They're trying to,
but it wasn't us, it was
they're
the
trying
state.
to, yeah, the state of Ohio got
Oh, somebody
All right.
else.
All right, so we need to approve a Castle Ray Digital.
Yeah, we will probably have, no, I shouldn't say probably, we'll have something from Philip for what he did when helping me set up these GoDaddies, along with, he's offered to go up to the fire station. We just got to coordinate when Amy and everybody's there, if anything needs set up on the guys' physical computers in their offices.
Okay.
So he hasn't billed us yet for that.
Do we need to approve this one in front of you, Brian? What's it?
Yep.
How much is it for?
That, I'm sorry,
Oh, you're fine.
I prepared.
And $625 for Castle Ray Digital. Trustee Varian moves to pay $625 to Castle Ray Digital Productions for the upgrading to the website.
Trustee Griffith seconds.
All those in favor?
Aye.
There we go. All right. Brenda, you have something in the old business you want to bring up?
Stark County Health Department, you should have received in your mailboxes, I know mine's there, the annual report. And I did, the annual meeting this year was by Zoom. And so I was able to log on and attend. They were having a problem getting enough people there to make that quorum. And we just made it, so we'll have to make sure we have somebody at them because they're having some trouble getting enough people there for their required annual meeting. But everything was good. You'll see the reports in your book. Everything, a lot of it's COVID related.
Sure.
But and the health department did a good job this last year with everything.
Yeah, I can't imagine keeping up with it.
Yeah, I think they had a lot of volunteers too.
Yeah, constantly running. That's a nice report.
Yeah.
That's well done.
So that's it. We did attend and we did help give them their quorum.
All
And
right. Okay, new business, Consumer National Bank fee update.
The trustees have received here at the end of the month of February our normal fees for each time we do our monthly fee and each time we do our ACHs for all our employees. That usually was $15 for what's called a cash management fee. And the other fee was make sure I look at the right. ACH module fee was $15. And then they would charge us 20 cents per every ACH. That normally runs like $37 a month. You'll see it on the bank recs. It's in the 37. Well, those fees, two of those fees are going from 15 to 20. So it's going to be an increase of, $10 a month, but the ACH fees are going to stay the same.
Okay.
I just wanted to let you know, because you're going to see that when I do the bank recs. And if you look at the bank recs, there's it'll probably be like $45 every month, roughly.
Okay. Do you need approval on that or no? It's already taken care of.
It's part of
the deal.
It's part of our fees. I just
All right.
wanted to let you know to be aware of it when you look at the bank recs, because you'll see it on there.
All right, next trustee meeting with a permanent appropriations needed for approval.
Yeah, what we'll be having at that next meeting is the permanent appropriations. I am trying to get it done, but I want to lock in a snapshot of where we are exactly at as close as I can to the next meeting.
Okay.
Then I know that I'm going to, I've got notices on April 1st, I have to have the OBM, which is the Ohio Budget Management, where you do your grants on it. I have to do the first annual report for the American Rescue money. We've only received the $209 plus we just received a check here 2 weeks ago for $835. And how we got this $835 additional is, how there's people that didn't sign up to use their money, they redistributed
That
that.
reimbursed and sent out.
And that's what that was.
so we got $835 more.
Yeah. And now different places got more naturally based
Yeah.
on their size, but the report that John from Stark County Auditors gave me was the additional money, the other 209, the other half. They're looking for that in May. I'm going to be setting everything up to have the $419,000 for the appropriation for possibly these vehicles, things that we wanted to use. I know we're using some of that for the premium pay for the fire department.
Mhm.
And this year so far, we've used just like $2,700 of that
So
in the
far.
first quarter, almost the first quarter.
Right.
So I was trying to figure out what that might be in a 2 or 3 year window going out, because
Yeah.
that was set up temporarily to use that money for them. And then the pay increases, I've actually worked that out of our regular fire budget by taking more out of the soft billing sides. So, that money that you approved, we were going to evaluate that in October of this year
Mhm.
to see if we can do more, where we're at, because I asked for that, and you honored that by getting a resolution stating that.
All right, new newspaper.
This is the new newspaper, JMN Journal. And the JMN stands for the name of I forget his name. I got his card in my purse. He's a WHBC AM newscaster.
Oh.
And he lives in Paris.
Really?
And he started this newspaper. It's replacing the
Press news.
press news. I'll pass it around. There's supposed to be a place in here where you can subscribe. If you want it free, it's at the Country Cafe, Lowry's. They put so many out there that you can just grab. But you can subscribe to them and it'll come to you in the mail.
I think we got one in the mail. I see something like that.
Hudson Valley Rockets.
nice.
The Nerds.
Somebody drug one home.
Does
But
it
I-
have any
pick one up.
prices in there at all?
Just right by
If somebody had to bid it?
The only thing
Yeah,
is I talked
I
to
don't
him
think they know what a
about our
newspaper
ads.
is. They might know what a bar is.
And you have to be, I forget I think you have to be 1 full year in operation before you're allowed to post legal ads. So right now, they're not allowed to put legal ads out there, so we can't use them yet.
Oh, the paper has to be around for a year. I
Yes.
see. Okay.
Yeah,
Thinking there's a lot
Does
of.
he have an estimated cost, like if they do subscribe and start?
I didn't look in there yet to find it.
It don't look like he has it, like something like if they had this on a news.
Like you
The
said,
Sammy Parker got front page.
Yeah.
All right.
See that?
She's
See
the
that
front
one?
page of that one.
Yeah.
Look at that. We need to hang that on the wall there too with the
Okay, you can
card.
take that one if you
There
want.
you go.
But it is something that maybe we want to subscribe to, Brian, as a township, just to
Here
get
next
it.
week.
Because that's a good example. Would be nice to have
Yeah,
that paper
Probably get that
because of
ticket.
that. Right there, isn't it? Right there under the front page.
Road superintendent with ticket and truck.
Road superintendent, roll strip on the side.
But anyway, eventually we could start posting some of our legal ads there if we needed to.
But you said after a year,
He said that he
He has to be in the business for a year.
paper has to be in production for at least a year, I believe.
Yeah.
Or 18 months or something. It was a period of time. And this was only his second newspaper out.
Are they operating out of the Press News old
Facility?
site, or I just wanted?
I didn't ask him
it
where he
says,
was
it
operating.
says complete the form below and mail to Walnut Street, Dover, Ohio, if that's where he's going out on.
That could be where he's printing from then. A real nice young guy, lives local, so I thought it was good. I'd like to see us subscribe to it and get a copy here.
Yeah, that'd be good.
To
He's
see
got
what's,
a Facebook page too that I follow. And
he does,
Oh, does
He
he?
does some good reporting, yeah.
yeah,
Well, this.
Jordan Miller News.
Jordan.
there it is. That's why it's JM.
Jordan Miller News. Well, yeah. He lives in Paris, huh?
Yep.
That's cool.
So real nice guy.
For the people.
And they are gonna start sending them out?
If you
If
subscribe,
you subscribe, $35.
he can't pay to,
Yeah.
he prints so many, puts them in certain spots
To try to get his word out, yeah.
and for free that you can pick up. But if you want it delivered to your home, then you need to subscribe.
All right, Hope Committee.
You guys will put it in Robert Myers' mailbox and whatever.
We are going to have a
Or 3 mailboxes, right?
groundbreaking ceremony on April 7th
Oh, wow.
down at the property. And
7th or 2nd?
7th, that's a Thursday at 1 o'clock. And I'll send the invite to Brian. I put that on the list. I thought it would be easiest for Brian to get it and then disperse it. Also, the new mayor of East Canton, David Spencer, because if you remember in those rules that we created Hope with between the village, the Hope came out of the village and the township. Part of the structure of Hope requires a representative from the township and a representative from the village. The mayor has now offered to be the representative from the village. So he is now joining the Hope Board
Oh, okay.
as that representative. You can have more than one from that place, but you have to have at least one.
Gotcha.
So whether we stop doing it, one of us, we have to send a representative. We have to send someone representing the township
Gotcha. Okay.
to that. That's how that was structured
Okay.
from that joint comprehensive plan that we did together.
Got it. All right.
So, but that's good. So we'll have the groundbreaking and then we still have our monthly meetings, but
How'd your community meeting go?
it went really well. We
Good.
had that, well, for the advertisement not getting out there. The Folk Center was very late in putting out their newsletter.
Oh,
It only went out like on Wednesday. So, but word of mouth had spread quite a few. There was probably, I don't know, maybe 50 people there,
Okay.
I'm guessing. They had a lot of good questions and we got a lot of great answers. The construction timeline is, as long as the weather cooperates, people could be moving in as early as the end of August or the 1st of September
great.
into that affordable piece, and they were all very happy about that. You know, if weather delays it a little bit, it'll be a little later. The infrastructure is close to being done under the ground.
Okay.
They've already crossed 30 there, and they're in. We are short a little funding on getting that road put in. We're still working on that because that's not part of the project, but we have to put the road in.
Oh, that's not part of
And
it.
then the road will be donated to the village, and then they'll start getting
They'll
road
keep it.
millage off of that.
Yeah.
So we still need to find a little bit of funding to help finish that road. Plus, like Stewie said, there's a shortage of some of those materials right now that we need to put the road in with.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Okay.
but everything's on track and
Great.
should be good. Everyone there was very happy. One of the biggest questions was, why can't we have a washer and dryer in our units for the affordable housing piece?
Oh,
And it's a federal tax regulation that if you have a washer and dryer, you're not considered affordable, even though you're paying for rent. They pay rent. It's not free for them. It's subsidized through the federal tax IRS. But they're allowed to have a dishwasher. So this is how good people are. So they sat there and said, so I've just put my clothes in my dishwasher.
We'll be going there.
bunch of clotheslines everywhere because I just sit in the
Steam clean.
dishwasher.
There's laundry there on site,
kill the
but it's in
germs.
the clubhouse.
It's in the like general area.
There'll be a big clubhouse. It'll have a workout room, a laundry room, a big social gathering room. So there's places for them to do that. But I just thought that one was cute. Let's put our clothes in the
Put
dishwasher.
it close the dishwasher. All right, correspondence. We have grassroots clippings there in front of you. You can take a look at. We've already talked about the Stark County Health annual report. We talked about that already. Anything else for the good of the order?
I move to approve bills or pay bills. Adjourn.
Trustee Barry in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good night. Thank you.
So it might make you guys a little busier once that gets in down there.
I'm not to look into that.
Yeah, that's great.
I
That
actually
timeline
think
is pretty. That timeline is pretty impressive. They're gonna have people in this fiscal year.
Well, because we started the underground infrastructure quite a while ago.
Yeah, that's
That
great.
was the biggest part.
Yeah, right.
I think when we talked before, Amy and them had